Hey there, good morning, or good evening, or wherever you are. I've been getting a lot of questions about how my case study is doing. The pandemic and the May the 4th update definitely been some boats rocking here. If I hadn't already put so much time and effort into the site, it would actually be kind of fun to watch things happen. But the hard thing about this is that we're not operating here in sort of a objective environment. This update rolled out in the middle of what is essentially an international catastrophe. So as I look at the numbers, I have to keep that in mind. For me, because of what happened in May, I can't necessarily directly compare what I'm seeing in May to April or even March, because I don't think that those are objective, consistent statistics to rely upon. So I'm looking back at January and February. And if you recall, you may not remember, you may have to go back and look at some previous videos, but I made some changes to the site in January and February that might have hurt the growth a bit. But I'm going to make the assumption that from February to March and March to April, I probably would have seen some growth. But since at this point it's all made up numbers, I'm just going to look at specifically what the data was and is. So in January, I was seeing about 16,500 sessions, and the same in February, although that was a short month. And then in March, it jumped to 18,000 sessions. And then in April, it jumped to 24,000 sessions. And I am 100% confident, based upon the pages that were receiving the traffic in March and April, that the traffic numbers going up was related to the pandemic, because the pages were pandemic specific. Not that I mean I wrote about the pandemic, but there were people at home who needed that information. So I expected that once people were let out of their homes, that those pages would fall. In May, it looks like we are on track to do just over 13,000 sessions. So how much have I really lost? If I compare the May levels to March and April, it's a huge kick in the teeth, right? Just hammers me. That's a loss of between 40 and 50%. But if you compare it to the pre-pandemic traffic, losses are less than 20%. And if you're wondering about those specific pages, here's a good example. This is one of the pages that saw the benefits of the pandemic traffic. You could see that in March, it was getting about 50 page views a day, and then climbed up to 275 page views a day. And then in May, it has contracted back to 50 page views a day. It was super cool that this page was getting a ton of traffic. Can I say for sure that this page losing the traffic was the result of the update? If you zoom in, which I'm not going to do here, that big drop that you see did happen basically on May 4th. But I'm not crying tears into my beers right now, because I know that that page was going to contract. And so how does that impact earnings for the site? Normally I get a spreadsheet out and show you numbers for numbers, but at this point I don't think that earnings are really the important part of it, because ad rates are impacted so heavily right now because of the pandemic for this particular niche. And so to say, oh, I've lost so much money because of May the 4th or whatever, ad rates were already down. And so yeah, the ad revenue is less because of the May the 4th update, but I was going to lose a lot of that anyway when people were able to leave their homes and go to do the things that they want to do. I will say though that the losses, like the hurt for earnings being lost, was mitigated by my joining the Amazon Associates program. Even at the lower rates, I've still managed to send quite a bit of traffic to Amazon. And when I say quite a bit, I mean, this is a new case study. So to go from $0 a month from Amazon Associates to close to $30 a month, having put links on basically 2 of my pages, I'm completely and totally taking advantage of the percentage on the whole cart deal, because not many people are buying the product that I'm sending them to Amazon to look at, but a lot of them are continuing to shop. People talk about jumping off of Amazon and going to find other affiliate programs, and I think it's a great idea to do that. But honestly, I'm going to continue to send people to Amazon to continue to take advantage of the whole cart deal, just because it's so easy. I know it's got a shelf life. I know it's not going to last forever. Who knows? It could be weeks or months before this part gets shut down. I think we should assume that Amazon Associates is going away in the near future. But for now, I don't mind. So what's the plan for this site? The plan is definitely to continue to incorporate Amazon links in my articles that have already been published and that have some traffic, so I can grab some easy wins. I'm going to break down, hopefully in the next month, and actually invest in a SERP tracker. It'll be good to get some more data on what I'm ranking for and what's happening to my rankings. I know, Sean. I'm on it. I'm going to continue to push out content on the topics that seem to be working for me in Google right now, because obviously I already have some authority for those topics. Might as well work on building up that authority and putting out more information on those areas. And then I'm just going to keep watching it and keep reading the reports from the big dogs. I just want to keep learning on this site. Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to use this time to dump a whole bunch of money into the site. Obviously, the traffic on the site based upon maybe the construction or the links or the authority or whatever is volatile. I have a handful of other sites that were completely and not impacted in any way whatsoever by the update. I'm not going to start any major link building efforts, and I'm not going to change my strategy dramatically for this site. I've also had people comment about the fact that I use a straw while I'm drinking water. Like, oh, you shouldn't use straws. Well, I wash this straw and reuse it like over and over and over again. So, I mean, yeah, straws are bad for the environment, but I'm not throwing this one away. It's not a one-time use straw. So yeah, that's basically it. Any thoughts, critiques about my strategy? Feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd also like to know what you are doing differently, if anything, as a result of the May the 4th update. There's a lot of information floating around. Some of it's speculation. Some of it's based on data. The reason I'm not going to jump in deep to that stuff is because I feel like you would be better served by going to the experts, because that's what I'm doing, and I don't feel like it's fair to just regurgitate what it is that other people have said and then make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. Before I go, I want to do a quick plug for my new podcast. I've done some interviews with a couple of people from this community that you may or may not know, and we're having a lot of fun over there. The link is in the description if you want to check it out. And if this is the first time you are coming across my case study videos, I'm going to put a link right there, or there you should see a box on the screen pointing you to the playlist so you could go back to the very beginning and check out all these videos so you could see the progress of this particular site. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.